welcome to the second episode of Star Wars CCG Holotheater. I'm your host, Jerry Queso Sauceheim, and with me on the screen for the intro this time is Rob. Say hi, Rob. Right? Good call. All right. So once again, thanks for joining us today on our second episode. We're going to start with an interview, sort of roundtable chat with Joe Olson about the OCS for September and wrap up August, and sort of where we're going with that. So we're definitely going to start there. And we also have a marketing video from our marketing advocate, Chris Menzel. And that's a pretty cool video. We're really excited to show you that for pretty much the last half of our episode. So thanks for joining. And we're going to go ahead and bring in Mr. Joe Olson, if my computer will work. All right. Sorry for the dead air here. Joe, are you there, sir? Can we hear you? I can't seem to hear you.
Hey.
Oh, all right. Hey, there he is. Joe, welcome to Star Wars CCG Holotheater. Thanks for coming back and joining us for our second episode.
Yeah, my pleasure. How's it going?
We're going really well. How are things over there?
Good. Excited to talk Star Wars.
Right, that's what we're here for. So we like to talk to you specifically about the OCS, the Online Championship Series tournament. So what has happened so far in the first 11 days of September?
So yeah, we're about just over a third of the way through September, and it looks like we already have our first qualifier for September. Johnny Chu is 12-0 for the month, finished all his games early. He made a comment about wanting to get in his games quick so that he could start prepping for Worlds, and that's just what he did, and ran the table going 12-0. Seems unlikely that we will have other 12-0 finishers. So he should take one of the September spots, and then yeah, we've got the usual sort of mix of characters who are doing pretty well. Rob, you have the current standings up there? Yeah, so he's 6-6. Yeah, so it looks like Shaw's doing fairly well. He can finish at 9-3 if he wins his last one. And I know he's competing for an at-large bid, and he's, I believe, 2.5 games back from Chris Kelly. So he's on the cumulative one. He's 3 points back, and each win is worth an extra 2 points. So he needs to beat him by 2 games to move past him. So finish 2 games better than him. So if he goes, if he does win his last one, so he goes 9-3, then he would need Chris Kelly to go 7-4 or worse.
So 12-0 finisher. That's pretty awesome. How many other 12-0s do we have in the OCS?
Just one. The very first month, Steve Salucci went 12-0, and now the very last month here, Johnny Chu went 12-0. I think I looked. Someone was wondering in the GIMP chat at some point how rare that was, and I used a spreadsheet and looked, and there was, I think, 256 games or something like that, 230 games, somewhere in well over 200 games or attempts that people had 12 full games completed in a month. So okay. So for example, coming into September. So for example, I had the previous 7 months, I did all 12 games. And then, multiple other people have done it all 7 months, but then there's some people who haven't hit it every single month. But anyway, there were over 200 times one person had finished all 12 games in a month, and there was just a single time that someone had won all 12 of them, Salucci, and now there's 2. So it's well under 1% of the time that someone's been able to do that. I could never do it. It's stiff competition.
I mean, that's a lot of games, and especially the competition in the OCS is very fierce. So that's, shout out to Johnny on that one. That's a great finish. So definitely
It looks like we've got a Mike Jim right now as 5-0, so he's definitely going to be pushing towards trying to qualify this month. Um, yep. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Mike Jim goes by profundity on Jim. And it looks like Chris Kelly right now is 2-3. So we were talking about Shaw needing to go above 2 games to pass him. Um, right now, Shaw is 9-3. So basically, he's got a shot if he wins his last one. Chris Kelly, Chris Kelly drops 2 more. Greg Shaw would pass him for that last at large or for that single at large bid. So I think they're both also hoping maybe an extra one will be created this month, but that may depend on how well Jim does and a few other people trying. Yeah, Baroni qualified last month.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Which Justin Desai? Oh, he qualified last month. So last in August, Silver Glen Justin Branch went 11-1. He was the top finisher, and then Baroni qualified at 10-2, just above Chu, who was also 10-2, but Baroni pushed him out on strength of schedule.
Okay. While you're doing that, I have a few questions that were submitted, so I'm going to throw these out while you're switching to that. So, Joe, I got a good strategy question here from Sean, 1984. What is a solid strategy against AOBS as a light side mains player? And as a follow-up, what is the worst matchup you expect as an AOBS player?
Um, it's a good question. I think a lot of people are struggling with this exact question right now because
Seems to be.
Black Sun's, I think, indisputably the top dark side deck right now. It's very strong, and I think we're going to see a lot of it at Worlds. I think as a mains player, it's a little bit different with Throne Room versus Hitco. I think I favor Throne Room over Hitco in that match. Typically, I favor Hitco. I prefer playing Hitco, but I think Throne Room's a little better in that match because of the expanded personas. Having Anakin, having Qui-Gon, just a few extra dudes to attack with can make a big difference in that game. One thing both decks can consider is playing Yoda Master of the Force and pulling him with the Jedi Council Chamber, and he can pull a sense or control, and you can use that control to cancel Shizor's bounty so you can go attack them.
Right.
I think one other strategy you can try is taking the system. Black Sun really depends on pinging and ideally being, they want to be at 3 battlegrounds for shadows, and typically that'll be 2 sites in the system so that they can drain one of the site, drain one of the site, drain one of the system, and shadows ping and be doing 5 damage. Mm-hmm. And if you can kick them off the system so that they have to spread to 3 sites and they'd have to be paying for every single drain, it's really painful for them. So it's going to be hard to kick them off the system with the Fist and Zuckuss and multiple Destinies and Guri probably to limit you and things like that. But if you can pile, if you can get Solo and Rey on there to get multiple Destinies, if you can get Padme up there with Anakin to be drawing an extra Destiny to attrition, things like that to just sort of work your way through the system and try and take that over, that can be a good strategy. Or if you just hit it hard really quickly and not let them even build up there, that can be good. I think it's definitely. And yeah, mains probably won't be playing spin as much as something like Old Allies was. I think that was your match against Tom. But yeah, that is a good combination people should be aware of is Guri limits to 1, and Cass says if they just drew more than 2, cancel 1. So if they spin the first one and then they draw the second one, spun, because of the rules now, spun draws count as draws. They just can't be like modified or and so
Right.
yeah, so then they they spin the first one and they draw the second one, and then Cass can cancel that second one. Limits them from getting around Guri.
Right.
Yeah, Black Sun has a lot of tricks. I think so. The second part of his question was sort of what's its worst match, and I think a lot of us have been looking for decks that are sort of anti-Black Sun. One that immediately comes to mind is Prophet, because it has a gift, and a gift making all drains -1 wherever you have an alien, and Battle Destinies -2 is huge. And Black Sun obviously can answer that with Probot is already a counter they're playing that they can just drop down on the gift and break the cover and then move Probot away or Ellis away or gift the back. So I did too. What's that?
You kind of cut out for a sec, but you're good now.
Yeah. So they can kind of suicide Probot in there with a Gick or Ellis him away or whatever to get rid of that Nabrin or to get rid of that a gift. And then I mean, there's always, if they want to go down the counter route, they can do stuff like Luxor droids and things like that if they're that worried about a gift. Black Sun can always add in more counters. So Prophet seems like it should be good against Black Sun, but then Black Sun does already have answers and could add in more if they need. WAP's another one that seems like it can be good against Black Sun, just because the front side of its objective says you lose no force.
Yeah, you ignore it.
Yeah, so Black Sun will be flipped. Right, exactly. So they're not taking any from the backside of the objective, but Black Sun will still be going drain one, shadows ping, and be doing 5 and attacking. So even though WAP stops the objective damage, it's still going to be taking a lot of damage, and so it needs some way to deal with that. It turns into a big fight over the throne room because Black Sun's tossing in their bounty hunters and drawing a bunch of destiny there, and playing hidden weapons and doing all their tricks, and Light Side's trying to take that because if they flip, then they're getting in damage.
Right.
And you can go cancel Battle Destinies and go try and fight Black Sun. So that's another one that you look at and seems like maybe that could be good against Black Sun. And then there's just good stuff. The other day I played against Johnny Chu. He was playing his final OCS game against Desai, and Desai had Black Sun.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Chu had a Diplo deck that started maneuvering flaps.
Okay.
And I don't think it had any like Tatooine sites other than the Dune Sea. The idea was just like you take space, you do bail to enhance your space drains, and it was like super heavy space, like Home One and a bunch of crap, like a bunch of ships. And then it was like his plan is like, all right, I'm gonna hit hard space against Black Sun. I'm gonna like Home One to Coruscant and just like try and kick him out of space. I'm gonna throw Luke on his speeder to the Dune Sea or even over to Coruscant and draw multiple Destiny if unable to otherwise. Flip Black Sun back, blah blah blah. And so he played against Desai, playing Black Sun, and I only came in like the turn before the game ended, and it was only like turn 3 or something, but like Desai had like misplayed or deployed something, and then basically he killed Luke in the speeder at the Dune Sea, but left like a stranded Jodo and then just like a ship up at the system.
Right.
And then it was like Home One, Akbar, and
world.
And Thanespi, who's like all your destinies are 0. So it was like he overflowed him in space for like 15 or 20 and decided just like
scoop the end. Yeah.
Because I think Desai kind of got desperate of like, well, I'm not flipped. I need to go kill this Luke, and then he just took a big beat down. And so Chu said in the gym chat was like, "Oh, that game was kind of weird. Will someone want to play a game?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll play." Like he was like, "Yeah, I kind of want to see that deck," but that game just went weird. And so I was like, "All right, so you want to play against Black Sun?" So I loaded up Black Sun, and then I beat him. Like and it was just like he played his chips, and I just like ran around, and I don't even think I killed Luke. I think I wasn't flipped, but I'm just like I drain one, I shot the stupid stuff that Black Sun does,
Right.
and and at the end, like his comment in the chat after the game was like, "Well played." Like I don't. This deck had been beating Black Sun in testing, but maybe not. Back to the drawing board. And I was like, "Yeah, I think we're all right there with you." And then Keith made a comment too, like, "Yep, we're everyone's looking at how do we beat Black Sun." And so there's stuff like going back to the question, like what beats Black Sun is like Prophet seems like it could be good, WAP seems like it could be good, and then people are building like goof stuff. You've got like arguably the greatest player of all time building a deck specifically to counter the number one dark side Black Sun, and it still can lose to it. It's
Right.
I think there's going to be a lot of interesting strategies people play at Worlds that they think look good on paper. And so if you're watching this and thinking like, yeah, I've got this idea, like Chasm's another one, right?
Right. I've heard of that.
I was playing against a dude on Jimp the other day who I can't remember who it was. It was V's. He was like, yeah, I got this Chasm deck, and he actually like it was like a Tatooine CRV or Careful Planning Tatooine deck that started Chasm, and it started the Luke effect actually, which was funny because I was like Chasm and the Luke effect, but he had like one Jedi Luke, one young Skywalker,
Okay,
one like,
he kept
Luke
it
Rebel
around.
Scout V, and just like one of all these ones. And
Okay.
and he like and it was a pretty good deck. Like he crushed my hunt down. Right, like we played and he just like he weapon leved my Darth Vader saber and just like he crushed my hunt down with it. And so, but then he was like, yeah, I wanted to test this against Black Sun. I was like, oh, cool. Like, he was like, I think Chasm will be real good against it. I was like, cool, let's try it. So I loaded up Black Sun, and then, like, Chasm did nothing because I was like, my first Emperor, like, I played. Then I checked my force pile, and I was like, oh, there's, like, 2 more Emperors in there. So I draw, and just, like, instead of putting them back with my objective, I just, like, lose them to drains. It's like, yeah, Chasm kind of limits me in that if I randomly draw an Emperor, it sucks. But otherwise, I'm not going to be putting him back with my objective. When I see Chasm on table, I'm not going to be tracking him to draw him for Destiny. It limits me in that I can't plan around my 6s anymore. But
Right.
There's other cards you can use, and you would, being good at tracking, you can track other cards.
Right. And so it's like, I think people will have goof solutions like this, like, oh, Commander Luke and Speeder is amazing, and like, oh, Chasm.
That's a better one than Chasm.
And then like, I think Black Sun will just roll a lot of jank that people try. Like I think
It's a cheese grater.
Yeah, it's just solid because it's just like it just does damage, and that's hard to beat. So
Right.
I think all that to say, like, I don't know. I've been testing a lot of stuff myself. I played Prophet in the OCS this month. I played. I've been testing WAP. I've been playing, like, me and a bunch of the guys I test with have been throwing all the spaghetti at the wall, trying to see what sticks. And but here's the other big problem. Black Sun, as good as it is, there's tons of other good dark decks. Like Map is still great. Like
Yeah.
Hunt Down right now is so good. So if you're like, oh well, I'm gonna tech to beat Black Sun, and then Hunt Down just rolls you.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh, I got my Prophet and I'm playing a gift and I like look how good I look and stuff, and then Hunt Down's like, all right, I stop my 2 free aliens, and then I pop out 4 and drop Vader and pull a saber and like move my aliens over and drain and Visage, and Prophet's just like, oh, I lose.
Yeah, and like Entanglements is still a deck, and the tech for AOBS and Technical Entanglements is just polar opposite, of what you would want. So
Yeah.
And
What?
we've
That your
beaten
course-
TTO to a pulp, but TTO can still come back and do stuff because if people start countering agents again, then TTO can
Yep.
come back.
TTO's still a deck. I wouldn't put it in the top 5, but it can still win games. But
Right.
like, set your course. Set your course is a legit
Yeah.
good dark side deck, and your Black Sun tech does nothing. Like,
absolutely nothing.
yeah, I mean, a gift can make Boba Fett not as good, but then they are just like, I played Baron instead.
Yeah.
Like Yeah, and Emperor Shuttle. I mean, it's
Right.
It's easy to get around that kind of stuff.
What did you
right.
think
And
of the OA versus Agents matchup?
oh, I I was liking Agents a lot in that until just recently, and in the last few days, I think I've reevaluated that. I think Old Allies has a decent chance. Um, I was talking with some people about it. I watched both games you played against Tom.
Yeah, I
Um,
misplayed the first one really bad. The second one I thought I did okay, but I was looking at the second one and I was just like, half the time I'm afraid of 1,000 different interrupts that OA could have, and I'm not sure really which way to go a lot of times because of it. I mean, like, they've got perimeter scan for the Boba Fett bounty hunter. They're tracking us. He's got speeders, so I was trying to set up 2 6s back to back so that way I could get past the objective on the second one after hitting on the first one. And there was just so many things, and even in that plan, I was like, they're tracking us, drops my destiny to a
ruins it.
miss.
Yeah.
And so there's not a lot of good stuff because the flip Falcon with Calrissian on there is maneuver 6, and they can just hide Ray on that the flip version of it, and you really can't get rid of Ray. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm doing the 5 damage thing. And then Tom was, in the I'll drop Rose and retrieve, and then, retrieve key pieces here and there. And eventually I just ran out of force before he did. And he's
Yeah.
also draining more.
Yeah. I think Old Allies Black Sun matchup is real interesting. It depends on the build and the player skill. I think.
Oh yeah, and let's not make any excuses here. Tom is way better of a player than I am, so that I'm sure helped him a lot in that matchup. But there was a lot of times where I was looking at the various plays and I was just like, I've seen Old Allies play this interrupt, this interrupt, this interrupt, and they could have they've got so many good interrupts in there that they could have access to at any point in time that could just blow me out, and I can't walk into those traps as easily in Black Sun, I don't think.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes you just have to make a play and
Hope.
make them have it. But
Although
yeah, you're right.
I do
I
think that game would have gone differently game 2 if Tom had made the play he wanted to on turn 2, but couldn't because there was a bug with Rogue One. It doesn't let him deploy Rogue One to Coruscant when there's no icons there.
Oh yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
there is still a bug with the spy
Yeah.
aspect of
So
that ship.
he was going to go there and try to take out the fist before I got Guri on there. I don't think he would have. I mean, it would have been. It's hard. I mean, he could get 2 Destiny with Poe, but you've got to hit 2 4s or better, or at least 2 4s to break the immunity. And if you don't, I had enough to come back to wipe him off of that, and then he loses another ship, and I can go over and take over Jakku with the other ships or something and just knock him off.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he was lucky that he couldn't make the play a little bit, but maybe he would have just cleared the fist anyway. I mean, drawing 2 4s isn't that bad, but it was turn 2, so it's entirely blind. And 8 is like that break-even point, I think, on immunity to attrition when drawing 2. So
Yeah. I think
that-
Old Allies has a high skill level though. Like I struggle to play it well. I feel like every time I'm playing it, I'm making suboptimal moves. So I think that's one potential issue if people take it to Worlds without a lot of experience with it. I think they'll be sort of kicking themselves in day 2 that they either didn't practice more or didn't bring a deck they were more familiar with, because they'll feel that. I feel it myself when I'm playing it. I'm like, that move wasn't good. That move wasn't good, and it happens like 10 times a game. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like I struggle to play it well, and I can see that happening too for people who take Old Allies thinking like, hey, it's got a great match against Hunt Down. It just rolls Hunt Down so hard, but thinking like, yeah, this should be good, and then making mistakes with it.
Yeah, it kind of feels like QMC to me in a way, because I've played QMC a lot, and there are a lot of times where I'm like, I just punted that turn, and then it kind of sits in my head for a little bit, and then I go to the next turn and I'll make another mistake with it, and I'm like, oh man, I should have made this play a little bit differently. And I can see Old Allies being like that because of the, putting a character to upload a character is a really strong ability. Um, pull with Ray, what do you want to do with her? Drawing cards at various key times and things of that nature. There's a lot there, and you're playing a lot of singleton interrupts like you would in QMC as well to try to blow them out in a key battle or something, and so you kind of have to set it up, and it can be very hard to pull off correctly.
Yeah, I played Old Allies at the Colorado States tournament, and I won both my games with it, but it was kind of like a brain wreck the whole time trying to get through the turns. I played against 2 court decks too, which is kind of a hard matchup for OA, but
according to one key member on the forums, it is.
Well, of course. But it was definitely a matchup that I had never played Old Allies in a tournament before, but just the sheer power of it, I was able to win a lot of really huge battles. But you do have to manipulate your hand in such a way to get your matching characters, get your Solo and your Rey together, or get your Chewie and Leia to use your battle interrupts and stuff. It's definitely not the easiest deck I've ever played, for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that user question generated a lot of discussion. That was great. Did you want to go back? Is there more stuff we have to talk about?
We just have the standings up. I mean,
okay,
they've been up during that entire discussion.
Yeah, sorry. Hey, we're good at talking Star Wars, so
yeah.
People like that about us, I'm pretty sure.
So, but yeah, the standings are up as far as the overall standings, including August. They don't include any of the games in September, right, Joe?
Correct.
Yeah. On the spreadsheet.
Yeah. So it just has, the total games for everything from till August, and all the qualifications in there are marked as well. So yeah, I mean, it looks like, Chris Kelly, Shaw, Nick Reich, and Gogolin are the people that have the strongest chance at qualifying on bubbles or things of that nature. Although with Shaw doing as well as he did this month, I think that knocks out Gogolin a little bit.
Yeah, we had kind of talked about that last time, that he was already on that bubble anyway.
So, but I think he was doing well this month, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was like 2-1.
He's 3-1, yeah.
2-1. So I mean, he pretty much is in win out or lose one to qualify through the spot rather than the bubble or the at large, I guess. Otherwise, he'll bubble the at large like he bubbles other events.
He's used to it.
Yeah.
All right. So do we want to transition to step 2 here, Rob?
Do you have any more questions from Joe, from people?
I have a couple other ones. Let's see. So this one I think is pretty good. Could generate some neat conversation. This is from our friend VHS Tapes. What theme or objective or deck that was not in Legacy would you like to see realized in the game currently? So I know we kind of get a lot of people are asking for spice, or they're looking for, rogues or whatever, but is there anything that we haven't seen from Legacy that maybe you want to see come? Maybe that be Rescue the Princess, maybe that be Raltier Ops, things that just haven't sort of been focused on by the PC since the reset.
I'm a little confused by the question because it says things not in Legacy, so wasn't ROPS in a deck during Legacy?
I guess, yeah. The question specifically says what objective, theme, or deck that was not in Legacy. So I was guessing that was more maybe like
and Tom Kelly in the chat just happened to put in he would like to see Watcher Step V, I'm sure, but that
was
really
a Legacy
part of the
set.
Question. So,
but maybe we can sort of open it up. But yeah, maybe Cyrus was sort of thinking stuff that we hadn't done before, or I don't know.
I would like to see. I mean, there were Legacy cards that kind of keyed off of Sith testing, and that's always been something in people's minds that they'd like to see. And I would like to see some sort of Sith testing where you choose, the master and the apprentice kind of thing, and it may have some hunt down or whatever flavor capabilities, but I mean that was always something that there were a couple cards, and there was one somebody was asking about on the forums earlier today where they were talking about some card that referenced Sith testing, and I'm like, yeah, it it was something that design was always kind of looking at, but never could fully function it out.
Sort of how, spice mining was like a loose end for the longest time, and then they finally brought it in there in the legacy. But, so let's see. What other questions that we have? I think I have one other one from Tom Kelly. Which do you think will be more represented of the ultra rares at Worlds in terms of total card count? So I guess specifically Emperor Palpatine and Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight. Which card do you think will be more represented in total card count at Worlds?
Yeah, so that's a fun question. They were debating this in the Slack chat earlier, and so on one hand you've got Emperor Palpatine, who Black Sun is running 5 to 6 of right now, and there should be quite a lot of Black Sun, and then there's usually 2 or 3 of them in Hunt Down, and he can randomly show up in other decks. And then on the other hand, on light side for Jedi Luke, you've got Hitko and Throne Room. He can also randomly be in Prophet. But then you also have decks on both sides that could be popular that don't have any of them. Map is going to have 0 Emperor Palpatines because it can't play it.
You can't play it.
World Allies is going to have 0 Jedi Luke because you can't play it. And so there are definitely very popular decks like Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight decks that will have a bunch of them, and then Black Sun decks that will have a bunch of Emperors. So I come down.
So between the two specifically, would you think there'd be more Emperors or more Lukes?
So Emil said in the chat he thought at Euros there will be more Emperors, and at Worlds there will be more Jedi Lukes, and I agree with him. I think the European players won't play Jedi Luke decks as much, and they'll have more Emperors then. But I think the US players are gonna have more Jedi Luke decks, and there will.
Does that mean less AOBS, or does that just more Lukes?
No, I think there will be still a ton of AOBS.
Well, American players also have the tendency to play Watcher Step with Jedi Luke as ground, whereas Euros do not play that as much. The US players are more of a mains heavy variants as well, versus the Euro meta, which is not typically just Destiny 6 guys with lightsabers everywhere. So I do think that Emil's right in that regard, but I still don't know. If Watcher Step V goes down, or Watcher Step goes down with the Jedi Lukes, and they're not playing that as much, does that reduce the amount of Jedi Lukes? Because that was big last year at Worlds and a lot of the other events. You're getting 4 or 5 Lukes just in that deck alone, and multiple people playing them.
Yeah. If I recall, it was something like the top 20 or 25 finishers last year for day 2. On light side, I had Rebel Strike Team. Greg Shaw and Emil both had Old Allies. And besides us 3, it was like the top 20 or 25 people besides those 3 all had Throne Room or Watcher Step. Right. So we had 20 plus people in the top 25 who had like 5 Jedi Lukes in their deck. It was basically the whole top of the field, and then my Rebel Strike Team still had like 3 Jedi Lukes. So I don't think it'll be quite that way this year. The meta's
a little closer in the distribution.
Well, the meta has changed. Agents has changed the meta a lot. Agents wasn't there last year. Agents being here this year makes it not as safe. I don't know what the Watcher Step Agents matchup is like, but I would think it would favor Agents with dealing 5 damage. It doesn't give Watcher Step a great way to...
They don't have enough ground, I would think.
Right. Watcher Step needs to kick Agents out of space, and they've got the spins to get around Guri, and so, that's sort of their main plan is kick them out of space, but in my experience, by the time they do it, Dark can throw enough fodder up there for long enough, and just
they can last long enough.
And can just last long enough to get their damage through.
Well, and don't forget, they don't just need Guri up in space. They can also do Bosk up in space as well.
Right.
So
they'll help.
Yeah, Bosk kind of is a pain for. Tom Kelly says Watcher Step would probably win the match if they had 90 card decks. So if anybody's going to know the Watcher Step matchup, I would assume it's him. So, it doesn't seem like Watcher Step would be a good matchup for that this year, and that's going to kill a lot of those Jedi Lukes out of the top 20.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
So, I don't know though if it's going to be that many Emperors at Worlds. I think, like Joe was saying earlier, everybody is looking for the deck that beats Agents or something that has a chance against Agents, and that's going to come into play and possibly could scare people off of Agents as a deck.
Well, and that's where you get into interesting rock paper scissors scenarios of like, all right, or maybe a better word for it is just wine in front of me, like the for those who aren't familiar with that term, like the Princess Bride movie where they have like a match of wits, and so the dude says he's poisoned one glass of wine, and then the other dudes, and there's one that's supposed to not be poisoned, and so he's like, oh well, I know you didn't put the poison in your glass because then you knew I would switch and take that, but I knew that you knew that, so then it must be in my glass. And so he's like debating like which of the two, and it's the same thing sort of. You can go, oh well, people are going to play anti-Black Sun decks, so I shouldn't play Black Sun, but then I shouldn't play an anti-Black Sun deck because people won't be playing Black Sun because of that. Or or maybe a clearer example would be like, all right, I think people are going to play WAP and Profit to beat Black Sun. So instead of Black Sun, I'm going to play a deck that beats those. I'm going to play Hunt Down because I think it beats the decks that beat Black Sun.
Yeah, where you're countering the meta. Joe kind of froze on us. I think Joe.
We lost him.
We lost Joe. Oh, he's coming back.
His Wi-Fi is having a little bit of issues. There he is.
Yeah, I think I cut out there for a minute.
Yeah, so we got most of your conversation. You just were giving this interesting look on the screen. So,
welcome back.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, what I was saying is I think it might sort of, with that wine in front of me idea, is it might be like, oh, well, instead of playing, I think people are going to play decks to beat Black Sun, like Prophet and WAP. So instead of playing Black Sun, I'll play a deck that I think beats those decks. So I'll play Hunt Down because I think it beats the decks that beat Black Sun. And so we might see some of that sort of next level thinking and sort of metagaming.
Right. And we'll get a clear view of the meta too after Euros. I mean, we haven't had a
meta. We won't.
A clear view.
We'll get an idea. Like we'll see anything that Crypto or Jimmy or Bastion or Emil come up with to make changes on just various decks. They may introduce other interrupts. You're not going to see it from all 50 players, but the guys coming to Worlds, you'll see.
Emil and Bastion are both going to Worlds. Do you think they're going to play their number one decks at Euros and then not switch?
I don't think they'll play their number ones. Bastion maybe. I don't know. I don't know how many decks are in his wheelhouse.
Emil and be playing their number two decks at Euros.
I mean, Emil will have. He's got like 30 decks on his plate that he can play. I don't know how well Bastion has been preparing for this. I haven't watched him.
He his OCS games every single month, so he's playing a lot of Star Wars.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if he's been playing the same decks a lot like he was last year leading up to Euros, or if he's changed it up this year. I know last year for Euros when we did the Gimp NPC, he played the same two decks a lot of the time, and then he played those at Euros. I don't know if he's actually been playing a lot more to open up his wheelhouse a little bit. But then
they're also going to play decks that they think are going to be good against the European meta, and then the American meta is going to be quite different.
Jimmy and Crypto have a large effect on the American meta too.
True.
And they're not going to be coming to Worlds, I don't think. But every year, almost everybody looks forward to see what Jimmy does for decks. Because last year was the RST, which Joe was saying he played at Worlds. I mean, that RST was probably pretty similar to Jimmy's, I would say, wasn't it?
He also made Invasion. He was one of the first to make Invasion. He also
apparently Jimmy is coming to Worlds, so maybe he won't do that then.
And he also did the Space Swap too, right?
Last I heard he was up in the air. Yeah, and then Space Swap was the other one I was going to mention. So Jimmy definitely makes awesome decks. I've seen a little bit of his post V9 decks. And they're Jimmy decks. So
I'm excited to see those.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we'll see some. I think we'll see a little bit of some definition. Like, it won't be a purely defined meta because the two continents are so separate as far as what we already play, anyways. But I think it will add two things. Like, Europe does affect the US meta a lot more than I think the US meta affects Euro meta. So
Okay.
Yes, I agree. The only thing I would say though is it's so close in time. Is it two? I think it's 2 weeks
2 weeks,
before
yeah.
Worlds. That's pretty late to be changing your decks. I mean, I think there's plenty of people who don't Star Wars nerd as much as us, and who will 2 weeks before Worlds be being like, "All right, I guess I better start on decks. Let me pull up these European lists." But I think for a lot of the top contenders, ML2, Desai, like they've been at it for a few months, and
Right.
they're already locking into decks now and trying to go 2 weeks before Worlds and pick up a deck and cold play it. Chu definitely can. Desai can. Like, but I
Emil
think
can too. I mean, he's probably looking at
absolutely.
he's narrowed his choice down to 8 decks probably per side at this point. Like
There-
that's
and
he'll decide the night before,
people
going, okay,
who can
we'll go
do
with
that.
this one.
But I can't do that. Like when I need practice with the deck, like
Right.
to be able to play it well, and I think that's true for a lot of people. And so I think that has an impact. If Euros was a month before Worlds,
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it will have the impact you're saying, but I think that might be a mistake for
Yeah.
people who are trying to switch last minute.
Oh yeah, especially for anybody that tries to pick up a Jimmy deck in 2 weeks and figure insides and outs and play it at Worlds. Good luck.
Yeah,
That's not happening. So
I think they should take the Tom Kelly approach. Pick your decks, play them for 4, 5, 6 years straight, and hope they stay at the top.
They don't get eroded.
I mean, I
No,
fully
no.
expect Tom Kelly to pull out IE at Worlds, and I
He
mean,
might play agents. He's been playing agents on yeah.
he's playing IE. I mean, it's Tom Kelly. Like, if I'm putting money down on it, he's playing IE.
I'm not gonna take that bet.
Yeah, not many people would. He might. That would worry me if he took the bet, but you know.
Touche.
And I mean, if he says that Watch Your Step needs 90 cards, I don't think he's playing Watch Your Step. But I mean, he could. If anybody, he may just accept that it's a bad matchup for him and just run with it and hope to dodge it.
The nice part is he'd probably be able to outplay a lot of just random people picking up Black Sun and thinking this is a great matchup, so they haven't even bothered to test Watch Your Step.
Right.
Whereas
Right.
he would have a game plan. So that's always a factor too. Is good players have a game plan
Right.
and know how a match goes, even a bad match. And I
Right.
think a lot of times players who aren't as experienced assume they know how a match will go and then are surprised when it goes the other way and then have an excuse like, oh, well, it just didn't go my way this time, it was bad luck or whatever. And it's like, no, I actually knew the normal way this game goes is not good for me, so I took it a different direction on purpose. It wasn't just luck that it was a weird game for you, you know?
Right.
Right.
And I mean, that does give the merit to getting into knowing your deck inside and out, playing it for as long as possible, not trying to pick something up 2 weeks before Worlds and hoping to win with it because you don't know it as well. So, but I mean, Tom does definitely have a wide range of decks. He just is so good with IE, I would put him on IE every single time. So, I mean, even if you are looking at day 3 top 8 of Worlds and he's got to play, you know, he played IE day 2, I'm still probably putting him on IE day 3 just because.
Why not?
Right. With the randomized opponents.
Right. Oh yeah, no, that'll be an interesting change this year. And one of the other cool aspects is Jerry and I are both going to be doing the commentary at Worlds, and so we'll be able to carry this over and, you know, take the stream over to there. And there's a lot of ideas I've got in there as far as deck techs and things like that are in the works that I'm currently setting up, which is kind of why this one was delayed a little bit. So
Cool. We should do a pre-Worlds, like the week before Worlds.
Yeah.
And
No, that'll
talk
be
about
that's
some
on
of those
the
changes
yeah.
that's coming at Worlds and stuff like that.
I was thinking the next one we do is going to be like a post Euros pre Worlds kind of thing, and then
Sweet.
that'll give us, you know, some time. That'll give me some time to catch up on getting the Worlds set up because the camera we ordered for Worlds was actually busted, so I had to ship it back and order another one. So it's kind of put me a little behind on getting everything set up. So hopefully I'm going to be able to get everything set up for it and achieve what I want to achieve. So, but I think people are going to be really, really surprised by the coverage for it, hopefully. So,
cool beans. So I think we're going to transition to kind of step 2 now. Thanks for joining us, Joe.
Yeah,
Always
thanks
a
for having
We
pleasure.
could probably spend 2 hours just talking with you. So,
Good talking with you guys. I'll catch you later.
yeah,
Yep.
thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next time.
Yep.
So yeah, with that, we're going to kind of switch gears a little bit. We have a video from Chris Menzel, our marketing advocate. And we kind of also wanted to sort of just go into what the marketing team does for the Star Wars CCG Players Committee. The things that are focused on in the marketing department under Chris Menzel's leadership are, social media interactions, donation support, prize support for our big tournaments. They're also in charge of, the advertising, making sure that everybody knows about the tournaments and all that good stuff. Streaming is a part of that, kind of what we're doing. What Rob and I are getting sort of this streaming show going and doing the commentary. So it's definitely a cool aspect of the PC. It kind of is where we get to reach out to the people who are playing and the people who are new and returning players. So
It's also a very underrated aspect of the PC, I think.
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of people on the team who do a lot of good work. One thing I forgot to mention also was the graphics.
Yeah.
They're in charge of making sure that we have all the cool logos and all the stuff that we need for graphic design.
Yeah, the cosplayer images, AIs, the
Foils.
hologram AIs, full arts, all that kind of stuff. That's all those guys doing that. And that takes a lot of work, especially trying to track down cosplayers for the various cards we come up with.
Right, and then putting those on cards, making sure they look good enough to be made into Star Wars cards. So those guys do a lot of hard work in that. So tip of the cap.
Right, and a big part of it is also the donations. I mean, that generates a lot of revenue for the PC that allows us to do things like stream coverage or even set up this kind of thing with the stream, and it helps keep the PC going as far as running events and making cards and things like that. And Menzel has kind of redefined the marketing role, I think, a lot more than some of the other guys that have been in that position. So
cool. So I guess we wanted to bring you guys up to speed on sort of what the marketing aspect of our committee is all about. So
so as far as Menzel, I mean, he's a relatively new advocate. He's been, I think, an advocate for the last year or two now. He's over in Europe.
Even longer than that.
Is it? It hasn't been much longer. He was pretty recent.
Not sure.
But it was definitely post reset. I know that much.
Yes. Which has been a while now, though.
Yeah, it actually has been. And he's over in Europe. He's in Germany, so he's on a different time zone than the rest of us, and he's still able to coordinate and get things done. He's got a great guy over in Europe. I think he's part of Denmark or Wales. I'm not sure, but Kevin.
I think Wales.
Wales, yeah, maybe. I think that's right. I get them confused. I don't know why. They're in two separate areas, but
they kind of are.
Anyways, he does a lot of the graphics and comes up with the stuff. And so it helps Menzel push things and ideas through. And Menzel's a really good idea guy. He's willing to listen to them. I mean, he's been playing the game since, probably mid-90s. I mean, he had a Decipher, what did they call them? Flight leader handles. So he's been a part of the game for a while. And, I mean, a lot of the Europeans probably would say he single-handedly kept the game alive over there. So,
I've definitely heard that sentiment before. So.
Oh yeah, and I mean, he's a big reason why they got Worlds the first time, and he's a big reason why they're getting it next year as well. And I mean, I've never been able to. There's nothing I could say that would be negative about Menzel. He's just a stand-up guy. So
yeah, he's great.
And so we're gonna show a little video. I guess it's not really little, but it's about a 45-minute video about him talking about the various prizes they give out, things of that nature, why we do things the way we do, to hopefully answer a few questions. And he also is showcasing a couple of the upcoming prizes, so we hope that you guys stick around and watch it. Jerry and I will be hanging around in chat. We won't be talking during the video, but we'll be around in chat to answer questions and hang around and watch the video with you guys. So I'll go ahead and transition.
Get your popcorn ready.
Yep. And hit play.
When the night of the watchers fallen, as she sent your soul to heaven, when the light of the stars are calling, I'm the king of the throne.
Welcome to Throne Room TV and your not so humble host, the EuroEmperor. Thank you very much for tuning in and for switching your Twitch account in and for linking it to your Amazon account if you did that. It helps us a lot in the future, and thanks to our streaming team who set all this up. And we're going to have a few showings like this. Last week we already had Robbie interviewing Chris Kelly and some other people, and this week I'm going to show you some things about our prize support. So, let's start. I've got some interesting stuff prepared for you guys, and we are going to start with something you probably already know, the PC half slips. The first item I'm going to show you are the PC half slips. You've probably gotten some of those at some tournaments, or if you're part of a league, we are giving them out that way. These are actually, I only had those two, which are still with the current text but have a wrong icon. So these are from the legacy area and are not to be used anymore. But just for demonstration purposes, so you have a Decipher foil card, Forlom here, and this is actually a sticker which would peel off and which you can put on your foil Decipher Forlom card, and then put them together and you have a total full EPP Forlom with a cool 3PO text, and you could use this in your deck then. There are different ones. I have a General VS foil here. Sometimes we have cards like Anakin, which are totally full slip, and they were made from the PC, also to be given out at tournament prices. There's a full list about all our foil half slips, and I will blend in the internet address for you to check. The problem with these half slips is there's only a limited amount of Decipher foil cards. Like all these characters we have here are from the Reflection 1, 2 or 3 sets from Decipher, and of course not every of those cards has already a virtual text, so there's really only a limited amount of cards we can do. That's why we had to repeat some, like we were giving some out at tournaments, and are repeating them for the league and things like that. So this is original PC half slip foil prize, and we are continuing to another thing. The next thing I'm going to show you are the OCS foils. Those were made this year for the online championship series, and we were giving them out like this. You have a little back card, number 1 of 8, so we have 8 different cards. We started this series in January or February and are going to up to September. So next month is the final, or the September month is the final month in the series, and afterwards the top 16 players are gonna fight in an online championship, match play championship. If you have not been able to check out GAMP yet, it's a super platform online. There's a really crazy dude called Troy Biesterfeld who has programmed every single card of the game, or almost every one. And it's an amazing online game of our CCG he made. So if you have not played in a while, if you don't have time to build decks, just go in there. All the cards are there. You can play online, you can build cards there, and it's an amazing tool. We now have a full team of 5 or 6 people who are doing what he did before, like creating the new virtual cards. So do yourself a favor, check it out. It's a really cool thing. So we made these foils of existing cards. I hope we can see that on the camera. It shows the Online Championship Series number 1 of 8. So these are have a print at the bottom which distinguish them from other foils. And those are made of super thin foil material, so you can just put them. You need the underlying correct card, of course, Commander Descent, which you put your Director Awesome Krennic on it to have an awesome Krennic. Yeah, so this is the first card, which was, no, it doesn't actually say, which was made in, I believe, February. It was Director Krennic, was the first. The second one is Sabine from Rebels. I'm gonna put those out for you to see better. Makes no difference for the camera, I believe. So the third one was I will finish what I started for the map deck. The fourth one was Prophecy of the Force, which is also nice because it is a hologram. The fifth one was Mara Jade in her Decimator. Next one up is Ghost, the ship from Rebels, and a little spoiler, this is the August card which will be sent out at the beginning of September. It's Admiral Rudis. Looks very nice in foil, especially with the blue background. Yeah, those are 8 foil cards in total for this year. There's a 9th card, of course, for September, which we're not showing yet because it's not on there, but it's a good friend of mine. You can imagine. Some follow-up, sneaky guy, leader thing. Yeah. So what you have to do to get those cards is you have to play 10 games in 1 month in the Online Championship Series. We will probably do a similar thing next year. So you have to play, I believe, up to 12 games total, but 10 is your minimum you need to reach to get these cards. So if you play 10 games on GAMP in the Online Championship Series in 1 month, you get the foil of the month, which is a pretty cool thing. Okay, next up we have the official AI foils. So there have been random AI cards showing up since the reset, which we had in 2014. There were Rey and Azure Angel, Grievous and other cards. You can use the same checklist in the collectors forum, which will show you which cards existed before. Since 2017, we've been trying to give them a more official look. So we did those little chase set checklists in the back, where you can see exactly where the card, where you were able to receive the card. So like for pre-registering at the NPC, or for the European Championship or Worlds participation. Things like that. So these cards were given out in 2017. They use the same ultra thin foil material, which is just slightly thicker than normal paper. It's almost not, it's like 2 millicentimeters or something. I measured it actually. So these foils were given out in 2017. So we have Hera, Captain Hera, which is a bit border breaking here, like a creature card from Decipher. Then we have the Slave 1 alternate image. We have Captain Rex as an alternate image. Jango Fett. The Azure Angel. Rey, which looks better than the actual Rey we have on the card, I believe. The General Grievous with an alternate picture. Remember, those are all cosplayer pictures or models we have to use. We cannot use any original material from the movies, from the new movies. Only episodes 1, 4, 5, and 6 were made as Decipher cards. There we have enough material from the Decipher cards. For the others, we have to use cosplayers, props, and paintings, because we don't want to inflict any copyright restrictions with Lucasfilms or Disney. So we have Agent Kallus, Anakin Skywalker. Yeah, with humans is of course only a limited likeness. And then we have those holofoils, which were given out at the online day last year, which is Aya Sekura and General Grievous, the same picture as we use in the regular one, but as a holo foil. This idea actually came from the Hasbro toys, where they also use the holo images as alternate action figures, if you've seen those. So the AI foils from 2017 I just showed you, those were 11 different AIs. For 2018 we only have 9 official alternate image foils. And we also have added a little icon. So you can see here that it says official AI foil 2018, number 1 of 9. And it has a little Star Wars PC CCG logo. And I'm gonna explain to you where the cards come from this year. So the first one is Savage Opress in an alternate image. I'm pretty sure the light is a bit dark here, but they look really nice if you have them in hand. So this card was given out at the local tournament weekend we have, which is in mid-November. So mid-November last year, we have a day where all the Star Wars local tournaments, so everybody is playing all over the world at the same day, a local tournament, and we will give them out for that. And it was also part of the league package we gave out this year. So then we have Ahsoka Tano with lightsabers, which was given out at the MPC and at the EuroEmperor for pre-registration. The third card is Shirut Imwe from the Rogue One movie. We gave his AI foil out at regionals, states, nationals, at events like this for the event winner. Most of them were given out in Europe because we are planning a bit more ahead for showing up the events and for preparing the prize packages for it. In the US, the nationals are posted a bit more spontaneous, or like a month in advance. So we are trying to set something up for next year where we can make a better distribution of this card, of the third card, the event winner card. So then we have those two cards, the Starkiller base foil, which looks pretty nice, and the Profundity with an alternate image. Both were given out for the top 9 at major events. So if you went to any of the major events like the Endor Grand Prix or MPC, EuroMPC, or any of those events, then and you were one of the top 8 players, and the number 9 player, who is usually a bit screwed because he cannot play in the day 3 events. So we wanted to give him a nice bonus as well. So the top 9 players get both of these cards, dark side and light side card, and for the top 16 of the OCS, we will also give out these foil cards. So there are not a lot of those around because they're only for major event tournament winners, but those might have 2 or 3 of those and might be willing to trade online for it. So this is card number 6. It's Asai Ventress with lightsabers in an alternate image. Also looks very nice. And this is actually given out at Worlds and at the AC for pre-registration. So if you have pre-registered for Worlds and the AC, you will get this one. If you have not, please do so now if you want this shiny card. So then for the online weekend in May, We had again 2 hologram alternate images, Commander Cody and Captain Phasma. So we went with the Stormtrooper route this time. So it's either Dark Jedi, Jedi, or Stormtroopers who appear as holograms all over the Star Wars movies. Not sure if Captain Phasma actually ever appeared as one. So, and very nice, we have the Finalizer in a very nice alternate image, like the Executor in a sideways card with a nicer background, and I like it very much. This was given out for everyone who donated at our homepage in 2017. Usually we were sending out prize support for this in January or February. This year we were very late. My apologies for this. There were some things we were not handling quite well yet. The foil cards were not part of it. It was more like the playmats and things which were not, which have never done before and were a bit difficult to organize. But instead of giving you a regular AI, we gave you this foil AI in the last minute. So I hope this made up a little bit for it. So again, those are all the 9 foils we have for this year. We are always working on new one, of course. On new ones, but those are not finished yet, so we are not gonna show you any unfinished cards here. We don't want to give you too much spoilers here. So at this point, I would like to give mad props to the Team Wales, to my friends Kevin Yap and John Morley, who are doing most of these AI foils and also do the little checklists and the actual cutting and distributing over 1,000 cards last year. So that's an awesome feat. And also many thanks for Chris Gogoin and whoever helps with the shop for distributing the cards, for sending them out to all the players, trying to coordinate that we send like OCS foils and other cards together in the same package, so that we save some money on the freight cost for the PC. All of this is volunteer work, and there are so many people involved. And again, mad props to everyone involved in this. So next year we have booster packs. When was the last time you saw booster packs? So these were actually given out at the Endor event and in Seattle in May, and also at the Tula Regional in Copenhagen in 2018. That's what it says here on the card, on the pack. This is a pack from the Tula Regional, and the people at the Endor Grand Prix received it as well in Seattle. So we were giving these out as a surprise, and I will do the unbelievable and open one up here live. And my wife better hold the camera steady, because we only do this once, honey. So people were opening these up. Many actually didn't and wanted to keep the pack sealed. And they received those white border preview foils, white border preview cards from set number 9. The Knights of the Old Republic, those are released by now. This is Rose. Nobody liked it in the movie, but anyway, the card is great. We have the First Order Special Forces tie and Prince Jesus Sewer. And this is actually probably one of the rarest cards we gave out this year. It's an AI foil, which is not part of the official series, but a white border AI preview card of General Kenobi with a different picture than the one we used in the set number 9 in the end. So this is a very, very nice thing. I hope we can do it again. To be honest, it's a pain in the afternoon to do, because so many people are involved in it. Like the graphic department has to do it in time. The proofing department, we have a proofing department of 5-6 people who are checking every potential error of a card. and all these people are involved. So it's not like, okay, we will release set number 9 in a couple of weeks and we have all those cards ready. It's always a lot to be done, and somebody's always finding something. Like the phrasing of the card text has to be exactly like of other Decipher cards, and the icon has to be right. Many things have to be considered, and I hope to do more preview cards, because I think it's absolutely awesome to have something which will be something upfront, which will be released officially a while later. But again, it's not so easy to do. So keep your fingers crossed that we can do them again. Keep your eye out for General Kenobi. I'm sure we will do a black border version of him, so that more people will be able to get him. But the white border version will be more exclusive and was only in these packs. And if you have some unopened packs, it's very nice to you can have the Tula regional and the Underground be unopened. It's a nice thing. Okay, all those items I just showed you, and the next ones as well, are in the $1 to $3 price range. It's not so expensive to actually create a foil once you've tested thousands of papers and got the right paper for it. And of course, there's a lot of time involved in creating the images. For the PC half slips, the material is a bit more expensive because it's a bit the sticker material is a bit thicker. The paper is actually a bit thinner, but the sticker material is a bit thicker, and therefore also a bit more expensive. And the next item is also in the about $1 range, and I'm gonna show you this little case I prepared for you with poker chips. So come closer and take a look at these. This is a little nifty item we have produced for the 2018-2019 series. There are 5 different poker chips, and they all share the same front side. As you can see, they got the website on it, swccg.org. They have the Star Wars Players Committee logo, and the little saying, "Credits will do fine." These are real high quality resin clay poker chips. They're the good quality, not the cheap plastic ones you can get sometimes. So these are really what the casinos use, and they're a nice collector's item. There are 5 different colors, and they have different backsides. And so far, there's almost nobody who recognized it immediately what those are. But if you take a closer look and know your Decipher Star Wars, you can see that it's the icons from the Decipher game. So you have the interrupt icon on red, the device icon on green, the starship icon on blue, the little alien Java icon on black, and the objective icon on purple. So those 5 cards with a gold imprint, the chips with a gold imprint are, I hope that everybody wants a set to collect. They've been produced in different rarities actually, so the common ones are those 2, which are given out to the lower places at the tournament. These 2 are uncommon. They're only for like the top 10 players or something, and this is only for tournament winners. So they're actually produced in different rarity grades. So there's 100 or 150 of these ones, and there's a total of 2,000 or something we produced of all the poker chips. So if you want to create your own poker set, then you can do that by trading for them at big tournaments. I'm sure there's players out there who don't need many of these or don't need any of these at all and are willing to trade for them. But if you want to have a real poker set, you need a few of those. So for a small poker set you would need 60 of the red ones, 60 of the green ones, 30 of the blue ones, 30 of the black ones, and 6 of the purple ones. Or if you want, this would be for 6 players for a casual game. If you would like a poker set for 10 players, you would need 100 of the red ones, 100 of the green ones, 50 of the blue ones, 50 of the black ones, and 10 of the purple ones. That would look like this case here, which I have prepared for the EuroEmperor himself. So you can come to my house and play poker with me. That's another option. So we hope that these chips will be used also at the major events like at Worlds or at Europeans, where we do funny little games, side games, especially at Worlds. We do games like Skulls and Roses or Guns and Olsens, and other games like if you can arm wrestle against Harpstar, you can win a few of those. I cannot recommend it though. I strained my arm terribly last year. What can you do with those chips if you're not a poker player? You can use them to remove the icons on your Watch Your Step Cantina or on the Invasion system. You can use them at advertisements. That's actually what I do when I go to a JediCon recently. I grab a couple of those and give them out for cosplayers when I take pictures of them. Because the website's on there and it's good advertise material. Or if you play cards at a game store, some guy comes up, says, hey, what are you guys playing? Then you could give out those chips to those guys. Hey, have a look at our website, and hopefully they will become players and play on GAMP or something like that. Well, we are a non-profit organization, so those are not for sale like everything else we do. We only do it as prize support or to support the kids at schools when we give out items like this. So obviously those are not for poker playing for the kids, but those are not for sale, but they have a trade value, and I would estimate those at about $1 items. Those as $3 to $5 items, as a $10 items in trade. So if you have any rare cards left and you have all the cards, your collection is full, you have all the white border and the Japanese cards and the foil cards and whatever is out there, then why not go for those poker chips and create your own set and trade for rare cards, because there's still many players out there who need cards and who might be able to trade in their poker chips for your doubles and triple and quadruple rare cards you have. Okay, closing this up. Okay, the next little item we have, you all know those cubes they released at the Cypher for the official sealed tournament deck and for the Jabba's Palace sealed cube boxes. And they had those boxes inside, and so what we wanted to do is we wanted to create 2 deck boxes which fit into this original sealed deck box. Actually, we had a little problem, and it was a bad marketing decision on my part, that we announced these as deck boxes because people were expecting something more sturdy or something more big, and again, this is an item in the $1 to $3 price range, so as a free giveaway it's okay, but if you expect like a big box like this one or something else, then you will be disappointed. So what we did is we created some boxes in different colors and different styles. So this one has been finally called the TARDIS in some ends of the world, but it's actually an imperial style. So we just use little elements that they use in the movies to make it look like imperial, but it's not actually taken from any part of the movie. Same like this, we call it Tatooine style. It's not from any movie, it's actually just desert parts and There's a little dragon somewhere, dragon skeleton, which is actually a dinosaur skeleton or something somewhere. So this is a Tatooine box and the Imperial box. We have two others which were only given out at tournaments, which are part of the prize packages we have for Europe this year. So we have the Millennium style, which is actually drawings from the Millennium Falcon, and the Mandalorian style, which looks a bit like the armor of a certain fat guy from the other part of the universe. So these boxes, they look like this if we give them out at tournaments. So these are the winning ones, and you have a little description on how to fold them and how to create them for your decks. So what we did, we created little sticker for the events, stickers, so you can put the stickers on any events where you were and collect them all, and stick all your events where you've been in 1 year on one of those side boxes, and in the end you will have a nice souvenir of all the events you've been to in quite some time. So we may get back to this idea and do it with more sturdy boxes, but again, this is an item in the $1 to $3 price range, or $1 to $5 maybe. I've been trying to do some boxes. This is just a custom product for myself, which I copied and made out of card boxes, but we cannot use them because I've used the icons here, and we cannot do that for official products. So this is just for myself, but as you can see, these always are damaged in the sides because the material is not the same quality as this is. So it's actually good quality for an inexpensive item. This is a fan box somebody made also for himself. We cannot use this obviously as well because it contains images from the movies which we cannot give out at tournaments. So this actually is a more sturdy box, which is not so bad. I believe it doesn't quite fit 2 decks with double-sleeved cards in there. But even if you compare those, it's just not fair to compare those 2 items together. Like this item is a $12 to $15 box. That's what was a person paid for creating them, and that would be even if you would produce them for like 100 or 80 or something like that. Looks like this. So he made a couple for himself, but again, we cannot use those because they contain licensed pictures. We can create something like this and could use it in a more sturdy box for the future, but for now, this is what we have. Okay, the next item we have is a bit more expensive, so we are coming to a range of between $5 and $10 items. I just want to tell you these items because when we prepare some prize packages for next year, I want our players to have an understanding on what things cost about to produce, and because if you vote for something, we might do a survey or something and ask you what kind of prizes you prefer. Then you just have to know. So if poker chips are not your thing and they only cost about $1, then you get obviously like 20 poker chips for something like the deck box we just saw, which costs $15 or 15 poker chips then obviously. So this item, this is a little deck bag. That's what I call it. The official description is actually backpack, but again, this is something I would not like to announce at that, although it has straps on and you could put it on the back. It's a very light, inexpensive bag we used for price support. So we have all these little items in there which we give out as price support in Europe or for the league packages. So, but this little bag itself is very nice to put your decks in and to use at Worlds or at the ESC or at tournaments. It's got a little place for your deck lists in front here, and got the Star Wars CCG logo on it. And again, it's not a very super sturdy backpack, but it's a nice little extra gift we have in the $5 to $10 range. So the same goes for the t-shirts. T-shirts we have use again our cosplayer or graphic art we use for the cards. We cannot use any of the licensed movie images, but last year we had the BPA prop model t-shirt, and this time we have the Starkiller base. The t-shirts, again, they cost between 5 and 10. It's like a $10 item, but that's only because the insane Advocate Scott bought a t-shirt maker, and we make them ourselves. If you calculate it, it's a bit more. I consider it more of like a $15 item, but we use it for prize packages, and it's another nice thing. Okay, as I said, those are the prize packages we've been giving out mostly in Europe for to finance the World Championship next year. So we have the t-shirt I showed before in the back, the little event winner card. I've prepared some rare cards, like 25 card packages of rare cards, which were usually donated from some players. And we have the poker chips I talked about. These are decked shields. I'll come to those in a minute. We actually have some of those licensed Jedi and Empire eau de parfum things. I work in the beauty industry, so I was lucky enough to see the Star Wars booth at one of those big exhibitions and talk to the guys and asked him into selling me a few of those packages for the prize support in Europe. Anyway, then we have this glossary, which if you have a little closer look at it, which we've been doing a while now, and it's a complete rule book with everything you need to know for tournament and for deck building. So you have the advanced rule book in there with all the rules and erratas. You have the latest current rulings from our forums. You have the decipher erratas. Those are the cards we made for which have been errated by decipher to receive the latest wording we use on all cards. Like some cards say draws destiny if not able to otherwise, others say if unable to otherwise. So there's a common wording for all those. So those are the decipher errata texts. And then we have abbreviations like WYS is what you step and stuff like that if you don't know it. And then we have the tournament guide is in here. Everything you need to know to organize a tournament, and alternate tournament rules like the cube, game aid, and of course a master list with all the virtual cards we've made up to date. In the beginning there's actually also an interview with a lady who did Hera from Rebels for our card game. So it's a nice little book. Of course it's out of date the minute it's printed, because all those things are renewed on the internet, but it's very, very nice to have at a tournament, because any major rulings stay the same for quite a while. So we've been using these all around. And in the back you also have the main phases of the game. So for new players it's also nice to have a comprehensive look at where you are in the game and what to do. Okay, so again for the glossary, now we're in the range of items which cost between 10 and 20 euro or dollar. So you have the glossary as a book, depending on how many you print, and we usually only also give them out. Many people are asking us if they are for sale, but they're not for sale. We are only giving them out at big events like World Championship or European Championship. So come to one of these events if you want one. There's one in every prize package for Europe. So if you go to any of the regionals, then you might be able to get one. We sometimes give it to the last player as a good prize, or we give it as a random draft. Yeah. So that most of the people have a chance to get one. Also in this price range are these items which we have been giving out at past years for the donation packages. So if you donated, I believe they were in the $100 tier. So if you donated $100, among other things, you received one of those glasses in the past. So different, like this is a steam, not a steam mug, but a glass mug and a beer glass. I believe we had a shot glass actually too, and Scott's been trying to do different kind of glasses, which is very nice. They're very popular. Unfortunately, they are really difficult to ship because of the fragility. So we will probably not do them this year. But they are popular enough. Now we've done all kinds, but we might do them again in the future. Another item which I don't have here, unfortunately, are the playmats. They're also a $15 to $20 item, and we've been sending out some for this year. I don't have them to show, unfortunately, but we will do a different style next year probably, and watch for the announcement of the donation. We will have it hopefully in time for Worlds. We will announce the donation packages for next year. So the last item I'm going to show you is also in the $12 to $15 price range. So it's actually fairly expensive, but I like it very much. It's a set of sleeves, but because they are so expensive, like this is for 25 for the shields. So it costs about $12 to $15 for one pack of 25 shields. So because the custom printed sleeves in high quality are fairly expensive, we only did them for the shields because for a whole set it would have been too expensive. The delivery times were also very long, and right now those are not produced anymore, so it's becoming a kind of rarity. I'm looking into new ones, but these were also given out as part of the prize package. So what you do is you have a sleeve, like a regular card sleeve, but for your defensive shield. So you take your correct underlying cards, of course, and your virtual slip, and then you have this matte painted back for the shield, and those need to be double sleeved, first for protection and also to protect the painting on the back, because it's the way those cards are produced. So then you have a double sleeved virtual shield, and you have those for your whole set. So all your light side shields have the same backing, and as you can see, we used the similar template as they have on the defensive shield for the back and put the big logo on it. for design. And of course you need your starting effect, and we did a special extra sleeve just for this one, so you can go well prepared to your tournament with your starting effect and your shields under it. And of course we did the same for the dark side with the dark side shields. Again, similar template, and of course also a shield for the starting effect. I like those very much, but we don't have a lot of those, so if you're lucky enough to get one of those, be happy about it. So this is all the stuff we created for the 2018-2019 season, for all the league packages, European prize packages. We will give out some stuff at Worlds for the donation, and we are always working on new things. So as you can see, there's going a lot of work into it. So thanks again for all the teams who are helping with that. And this is the EuroEmperor. Thank you very much for watching Throne Room TV, and I hope to see you again soon.